In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on March 14, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Toronto Raptors versus Utah Jazz. The Toronto Raptors and the Utah Jazz face off in an inter-conference matchup on Friday night. Toronto is coming off a solid home victory against the Philadelphia 76ers in its most recent outing. On the other hand, Utah just suffered another tough loss, this time on the road against the Memphis Grizzlies on Wednesday. The last time these two teams met, it was Toronto that came out on top, securing a 118-109 win at home against the Jazz just last week. Injuries continue to be a major storyline for the Raptors, who remain without several key players, including Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, Jakob Poeltl, and Jakob Walter. Meanwhile, Utah is dealing with some personnel issues of its own, as John Collins has been ruled out again, and Keon George is listed as questionable. Despite the short-handed roster, the Raptors have found a way to stay competitive, winning 5 of their last 6 games. The Jazz, on the other hand, have been struggling badly, as they are currently in the midst of a 7-game losing streak, even as some of their players have returned to action. Toronto proved in its last game that it can handle business even without key contributors like R.J. Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Emmanuel Quickley. At least 2 of those 3 are expected back on Friday, which could tilt the scales even further in favor of the Raptors. In their previous meeting, Toronto managed to beat Utah by 9 points and successfully covered the spread. The Raptors have been one of the most reliable teams against the spread lately, going 5-1 in their last 6 games. For the season, they hold a 39-26-1 against the spread record and have excelled in non-conference matchups, boasting a 17-5 record in such games. The Raptors' up-tempo style of play should present serious problems for the Jazz. Toronto is currently ranked 4th in the NBA when it comes to fast break scoring, averaging 17.5 points per game in transition. That will likely spell trouble for Utah, which owns the league's worst defense against fast breaks, surrendering 18 points per game in those situations. Additionally, Toronto thrives on forcing turnovers, averaging 14.6 per game. That's a bad combination for the Jazz, who lead the NBA in giveaways, turning the ball over 16.7 times per game, which accounts for 14.7% of all their offensive possessions. Adding to Utah's woes, the team ranks dead last in forcing turnovers, creating just 11.2 per game. The Raptors have hit a nice groove lately, but their success has also coincided with more names appearing on the injury report. This is a trend we're seeing across the league, where teams that aren't eager to fight for a play-in spot suddenly have a string of players dealing with minor ankle and knee injuries. Oddly enough, the Jazz have gotten healthier, which is part of the reason this game's betting line is what it is. But even with some reinforcements, Utah still hasn't managed to win a game since February 28th and remains stuck at just 15 total victories this season. It's a weird situation, but ultimately, the Raptors have been playing harder and performing better overall. Injuries or not, I'm sticking with Toronto here. As our first pick for this matchup, the Toronto Raptors to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The last time these two teams met, the total points fell short of expectations, with only 227 points scored. Utah has also leaned toward the under lately, going over the total in just one of its last 4 games. Meanwhile, Toronto has struggled to push games over the total, posting a 9-13 over record following a win and a 13-17 over record when playing on the road. The Raptors have been an average shooting team at best all season. Their effective field goal percentage sits at 52.5%, which ranks 23rd in the NBA. Free throw shooting has also been a major issue, as they hold the worst percentage from the charity stripe in the entire league, converting just 75% of their attempts. Additionally, Toronto's three-point shooting woes continue to hold them back, as they rank 29th and made 3-pointers per game with just 11.6. On the other side, Utah has its own efficiency problems. The Jazz turn the ball over way too much and aren't great at the free throw line either, making just 77.3% of their attempts. Neither of these teams is known for offensive firepower, as both rank in the bottom half of the NBA in scoring. Given their inefficiencies and the recent trend of unders in their matchups, this one doesn't seem likely to turn into a high-scoring affair. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Los Angeles Lakers versus Denver Nuggets. The 2024-2025 NBA season continues on Friday, March 14, with a much-anticipated showdown in the Western Conference. This exciting matchup will take place at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, where the Nuggets will host the Lakers in what promises to be a compelling battle. This will be the third meeting between Los Angeles and Denver this season, with both teams having already secured a road victory against the other. Back in November, the Nuggets dominated the Lakers with a decisive 127-102 win. However, the Lakers responded emphatically in February, securing a commanding 123-100 victory of their own. With the season series currently tied, both teams will be eager to claim the upper hand in this latest encounter. The Lakers are dealing with a slew of injuries, which has made their road trip even more difficult. Key players like Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, and LeBron James have all been ruled out, significantly depleting their depth. On the other side, the Nuggets are also missing some firepower as Julian Strawther remains sidelined. However, Denver did receive a bit of good news, as Aaron Gordon has been upgraded to questionable for this game. With their roster already stretched thin, the Lakers have been relying heavily on Luka Doncic to shoulder the offensive load. Unfortunately for Los Angeles, that wasn't enough in their last outing, as they fell short against the Milwaukee Bucks on Thursday night. It's no secret that this has been a tough stretch for the Lakers. Playing back-to-back games is always a challenge, but doing so in Denver, where the altitude alone makes things harder, adds another layer of difficulty. Combine that with their injury issues, and it's easy to see why the Nuggets are heavily favored to win this one. That being said, Denver hasn't exactly been dominant when it comes to covering spreads lately. They've failed to cover in 7 of their last 10 games, showing some inconsistency in spots where they would normally be expected to dominate. As a double-digit favorite, the Nuggets have gone just 4-4 against the spread in their last 8 games, and one of those missed covers even resulted in a shocking outright loss to the Wizards. Denver has had its struggles lately, but coming off a frustrating home loss to the Timberwolves on Wednesday, the Nuggets will be extra motivated to bounce back in a big way. After getting thoroughly outplayed, they will be eager to correct their mistakes and put together a strong performance in front of their home crowd. A comfortable win for the Nuggets certainly feels like the most likely outcome here. However, the betting line is quite steep, and that makes me lean toward taking the Lakers with the points. This spread might be a bit of an overreaction. As our first pick for this matchup, the Los Angeles Lakers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Surprisingly, the Lakers' defense has been improving over the last few weeks, even though they traded away one of the best defenders in the league in Anthony Davis and replaced him with Luka. Despite dealing with injuries, their defensive numbers have been climbing, and they've continued to look solid on that end even after LeBron went down. With so many key players out, their offensive potential in this game is definitely limited, so they'll likely focus on maintaining their defensive strength to keep themselves competitive. The Nuggets, on the other hand, do allow a fair amount of points, but they generally keep opponents from going completely off on the scoreboard. Denver's defense has been a weak spot all season, as they currently rank 23rd in the NBA in adjusted defensive efficiency, allowing 116 points per 100 possessions. However, while the Lakers might have some opportunities to exploit those defensive lapses, their current injury situation makes it unlikely that they'll be able to fully capitalize on Denver's shortcomings. Given the circumstances, expect the Lakers to slow the pace of the game whenever possible. Denver plays at a relatively fast tempo, averaging 100 possessions per 48 minutes, which ranks 5th in the league. Meanwhile, the Lakers tend to play at a much slower pace, ranking 22nd with just 97.6 possessions per 48 minutes. Additionally, neither of these teams leans too heavily on three-pointers. The Nuggets, in particular, have the lowest three-point rate in the league, hitting just 35.3% of their attempts from beyond the arc. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Sacramento Kings versus Phoenix Suns. The NBA betting action continues on Friday, March 14, 2025, with a 10-game slate, including a Pacific Division showdown at Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Sacramento will face Phoenix for the 3rd time this season, having already met twice in November. The Kings were victorious in both matchups, winning 127-118 as 1-point road favorites and 127-104 as 8-point home favorites. Sacramento remains shorthanded, with Demantis Domantas Sabonis ruled out due to a hamstring injury. On the other side, Phoenix has also been hit with injuries, as Grayson Allen has been ruled out, while Nick Richards and Cody Martin are both listed as questionable. Sacramento could really use a win to boost their confidence, but they've been struggling, and their recent blowout loss to the Warriors showed they're lacking in energy. Meanwhile, Phoenix's downward spiral continues with another tough defeat, despite having their key players healthy. However, they may be missing several key role players for this game. The Kings have already beaten the Suns twice this season, but Phoenix is getting desperate for wins as they fight to stay in playoff contention. The Suns haven't managed to win back-to-back games since January, but they're still in the playoff hunt. They're hoping to move ahead of the injury-riddled Mavericks, but they desperately need to find some momentum and string together a few victories. For Phoenix, the first step is to get back on track with a win. A matchup against Sacramento looks like a good opportunity to do just that. The Kings will miss Domantas Sabonis, and they're playing on the second night of a back-to-back. Following a tough road loss to the Warriors, the Suns will have the chance to take advantage of that situation. Defensively, neither team has been impressive. The Suns have been unable to stop anyone this season, but Sacramento isn't exactly known for their defense either. The Suns have plenty of offensive weapons that could exploit Sacramento's weak defense. The Kings rank dead last in the NBA in opposing three-point percentage, allowing opponents to shoot 37.7%, while Phoenix sits at fourth in three-point percentage at 38%. Phoenix has been a major disappointment this season, and if the playoffs started today, they wouldn't make the cut. They've dropped 2 straight games and lost both previous matchups against the Kings. Sacramento is still in the playoff race, but they've also dropped their last 2 games, each of which saw them giving up over 130 points. Despite their struggles, Phoenix still has their big 3 healthy, and they're solid at home, with a well above .500 record. However, their road form has been terrible, as they've lost 3 of their last 4 games, all away from home. As much as I'm not a fan of the Suns, especially after how poorly they've played this season with a 25-40-1 against the spread record, I can't ignore that Sacramento is also dealing with their own issues. The Kings are on the second night of a back-to-back, and they might be missing their best player, Domantas Sabonis. Despite the Suns' flaws, they have the advantage of being at home with more rest, and they have a real opportunity to take a play-in spot from the Mavericks. I'm going to take Phoenix to win and cover the spread, even though they've struggled against the Kings historically, going 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 meetings. On the bright side, the Suns have managed to cover in 4 of their last 5 games overall. If Phoenix can't get up for this game and secure a win, it might be time to officially call it a season for them. As our first pick for this matchup, the Phoenix Suns to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The total has gone under in the Suns' last 2 games, but has gone over in the Kings' last 4. Sacramento has had serious defensive issues all season, allowing over 130 points in each of their last 2 games. Given that this is the second game of a back-to-back for the Kings, I don't see them playing good defense here either. As I mentioned, the Suns rank among the worst teams defensively, sitting with the 4th worst defensive rating in the league. The Kings are slightly better, but their defense also has major flaws. With both teams struggling defensively, the Suns will rely on their three-point shooting to try to outscore Sacramento. Phoenix doesn't play at a fast pace. The Suns average 97.4 possessions per 48 minutes, ranking 23rd in the NBA, while the Kings are slightly quicker at 98.8 possessions per 48 minutes, ranking 17th. However, both teams rely heavily on offense, and each of their first 2 matchups this season went over the total. Expect a high-scoring game here, with the Suns putting up a decent total and the Kings scoring plenty as well. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.